21-day notice to get to a landlord,
Right.
right?
So,
And they have to effect a change on a tenant within 30 days notice, right? So if you guys aren't able to cap it at the 12 months, then you should make it very apparent that if you pay the 88, that it's done and over with.
Well, and that's just it.
Yes,
That's
all
what
that has to
they-
be in the resolution.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
it has to be
That's-
very
and
point
that's-
blank of what we're doing, so that everybody understands it.
So basically, the public needs to understand, if you so choose, well, I'll just pay the $741 a month. You need to understand
And
that
that's
that's
for-
gonna be for a year,
you're held to it, no matter.
regardless of when we make the cap or anything like that. So I mean, that's just something that we need to make sure that the public understands, that it is for a year's time, not when we reach the cap, okay, we're all done, no.
And that's something that the council also can do, is that, say we wanna let this run for 2 months, say, hey, you can come in and pay your $88, and they can come in, write a check, I put their name down on a list, and then that, rate code does not go on to your account.
Okay.
And so if everyone pays it and then the money donated is able to cover the rest of it, then we don't have to do a rate change.
And you might as well put it out to the public that way. If you can pay the $88, then
Yeah.
pay it without affecting a rate change if you're gonna keep 2 months.
Mhm.
Essentially.
Back to Tammy's question, what happened to the 100,000 that was supposed to be sent to the city of Fromberg?
The 100,000,
Yes, the clerk told us last week when he came in.
It's in the account.
It's in which account?
So there's 3 different accounts, and one is for disaster fund, and that was the money that was also paid out under the school, or paid out through the school. And then the other ones are designated that are already money that was spent, and so it's just refunding us back for the money that was spent.
So the city was paying for stuff and this is money coming back to the city then?
Yep, so it's stuff that happened throughout the flood that the town had paid for, different, like, one was porta potties, one was gravel and other stuff, and that money is just to be reimbursed.
100,000 is a hell of a
How
lot of
about
money
the wages
paid
that was
out.
paid out?
Huh?
How about the wages that was paid out for the volunteers?
Shawla's got paid.
How about the other one?
No,
There's 2 of them.
yes, I know. But the Shawla's did get paid, is what I was told by FEMA.
Okay, how about Tina?
It is still under investigation and we're not allowed to talk about it.
Oh my God, how long's it gonna stay under investigation? Milk,
I
milk, milk.
The government.
I don't know.
Okay, well,
That's not her deal.
That's not my deal,
Welcome to
that's just what I
You're
can,
asking
that's,
her on-
I got a question. Last week, we was told it was gonna be $36,000 grant, and we was gonna wind up with about 14,000. How did it increase to $7,000 in a week?
what the Conservation District did is they took that money and, as the grant, they eliminated their fees. They took $7,920 of that and put it towards construction, which she said they had to do, which left us the 28,000, well, the $21,810.38 to come up with.
Yeah, so they paid out 28, and they did say that
Well,
originally.
How come we didn't deal with Carbon County instead of Stillwater County?
They don't have one. And if you've seen what they had to write, and Tim has seen, if you've ever
My God,
seen
this
it,
is where we pay our
yeah, I
county
know, but if
taxes.
you've ever seen these grants written and stuff, or when we are talking
She has a book,
books like this,
Sharon does.
it's,
And I'll tell you, when this flood happened, Darlene Schwinn had been the person in charge of doing all that stuff over in Joliet for the Carbon County. She passed away. And she had another lady there that was training, I believe her name was Amy. She was at our last meeting up at the school. But during the flood, the government decided that Sharon from the Stillwater Conservation District could handle Carbon County and her county. And that's what she did. She pursued it. She's the one that put in the paperwork. She did all the legwork. She did it. I mean, you're talking, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 different governmental organizations that she has to coordinate with to get something like this done. We had issues with Army Corps of Engineers. And how many different groups of Army Corps of Engineers are there? And the Forest Service with all of their issues in different groups. It has been a challenge. And I have walked this river with every one of those groups, looking at all the weak points, trying to figure out how we can get monies to fix that. It's not been an easy task. And it's not been an easy task for them because Fromberg has come up almost every day for the last 2 years over there. It's in big bold letters on her memory board. She's not gonna forget about it. And she hasn't. All it takes is just not pushing for 2 seconds. They would love to take this, whatever it is, at $800 or $693,930 and use it somewhere else.
I'm sure.
Because they can.
Well, there's 51 projects between
Yeah.
Stillwater and Carbon County.
Right.
And if we had let this go, this money would have gone to those other projects.
Yeah, and a $7,000 difference
Yeah.
when you're talking about a $700,000 project.
Yeah.
Is a pretty small
Yeah.
drop in the
It's-
bucket compared.
It
to
is
what-
something that our conservation districts, both of them, have worked very hard for us to get. I think the town, and they'll tell you, we have raised enough cane and kept ourselves in the limelight long enough to get something done.
Good.
Well, why was Scott so dead set that we were gonna get 36,000 and only have to pay, you know, is Scott kinda misled us?
Well, this is the figures that she gave us.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
Part of that was
I,
that
for
fee.
one,
Yeah.
am not gonna sit up there and argue with them. When they reduced our bill from 50,000 down to $21,810.38.
Yeah, that's way better than.
I mean, it's way better than what it was.
Well, we could
I
be
think
shelling
we're-
out 700,000.
We went from $200 to $88, so that was a pretty good jump.
You know, they're doing everything they can, in my opinion, I think they're doing everything they can to help us.
Mhm.
Because in a heartbeat, they would take this money elsewhere.
Speaking for somebody who's been dealing with these guys for over 18 years, trying to get something done on that river. I mean, I've been battling them for 18 years, Army Corps of Engineers, Fish and Game, DNRC, every agency out there, as Tim was talking about, and trying to get them on board with anything. You'll get one on board, but then the other ones don't go. And then they just turn and they force you into a circle. And I had a gentleman from DNRC flat out tell me, he says that's their ploy. One will sign off, the other one won't. You gotta go to here, you go to that, no, you gotta go to here. And it's a ploy that they play, they push you around long enough knowing that eventually you'll just say,
You'll give up.
I'm done, I give up. I've been battling for 18 years. When I first started into this 18 years ago, when we first looked into this, just to riprap my section of the property was almost $700,000. Just my section alone. That was 15 to 18 years ago when we were first doing that. So getting this done for $21,000 is
a jump.
is a pretty good deal considering the cost of pricing of riprap materials. And not to mention the fact that they told me I had to go to the High Line and bring granite down to put it in. That was the different agencies that you have to deal with. And it is frustrating. I'm here to tell you it is frustrating. When Tim showed me this tonight, I was elated. That was great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because I'm trying to figure out, how the best way that we can come up with to make this $50,000 work. And to drop it down to $21,800, $22,000, round it off or whatever, that's a substantial difference right there alone.
Well, if we don't act now, they'll find some form of
Exactly.
fish that lives
We-
in that.
we were
wash
already
out,
told.
and they'll stop it now.
It was getting ready to go somewhere
Thanks
else.
for your input, Mike.
So,
Yeah, we gotta get it done.
I'm hitting on this, folks, just as well as everybody else is, and I'm doing my darndest to help out the best that I can. Like my wife and I both said, we are gonna pay above and beyond our $88. I already said I'd pay for Marge's share.
Slap you.
So, but yes, so I am, like I said, I have, as they talk at the school meeting, you know, I do have skin in this game. I do a lot. I benefit greatly from this, don't get me wrong. And I don't take this lightly. I take this very seriously. I take this job on council very seriously. That was one of the reasons I took this position. I've lived in this town for 22 years, 23 years, somewhere in there. I've been on the fire department for 22 years. So I have a vested interest in this town, and I take this very seriously. And I take your guys' comments and stuff that you have to say very seriously. I'm sorry, I'll get off my soapbox now.
Well, I would like to say, I wanna thank all the council for all the time that you guys have put in for it. Cause it's not been easy. It's kinda like herding a herd of horses down the road, you're just kinda keeping them on the, and that's it.
Kind of like Bozo Circus.
Yes.
With
It's
the
just,
government.
and back and forth with the government, I mean, it's not been a fun deal,
So
but
we don't have to do a rate increase if they all come in with their 88, correct, Harley? Okay. At
it
this,
just, we just have, if they come in and donate that money, then it's not a rate increase.
well,
And it's considered a donation, so it'd be
Tax
considered a
write-off.
tax write-off for
Tax
next year.
okay, so can I make a recommendation here, just, and you guys go yay, nay, or whatever?
Nay.
I do have a program, and if Harley wanted to work with me on it, we could create a Facebook post and a poster to, you know, put up at the senior center, stuff like that, to kind of inform people. If they wanna, you know, do it this way, otherwise,
Why don't, we had very good support at the other council meeting the other night at school. We
okay.
had a lot of people that I think were
Yeah.
willing to put in above and beyond.
Mhm.
Something like that, I would,
Do another meeting, but then do like a Facebook post or
yeah,
something.
and you can come up with some kind of a date or something on it, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you would work with Harley to try to get that would be something that I think would be great.
Just because I know a lot of people don't come to the meetings, and we just have to inform them, you know. Otherwise, you know, we'll be charged, but this way, it's a tax write-off and.
Because we're not in, as a city, I don't believe that we're in that big a hurry to get this.
Yeah,
You know, it's not something we have to come up with next week
next week,
or
okay.
next month.
You guys could do door to door pretty easy, and I'm gonna tell you as
You
somebody who
got
doesn't.
21,000 right now.
That's what I.
It's already been
I've
paid.
already paid.
Here's
We've
the
already paid
thing,
it.
if you guys go door to door, you're reaching that group that you aren't gonna get on Facebook, or you
Okay.
aren't gonna go up here, and here's the thing, as somebody who lives in this town, who pays a water bill, I'd rather have you come tell me what it's about and ask me for my donation and me write you a check right then and there versus getting a poster and trying to come up and get
I
an
do like
answer.
that idea, and I would not mind taking a weekend and going door to door if there's somebody else that wants to go door to door with me.
But one thing on that, if we do door to door, we gotta stress who it's gonna be. So when you give names, there's so many scams of people doing door to door.
So,
It's
Yeah.
cleaning people
Well-
out. So at least say, like on the post saying it's gonna be you and Harley.
Or
So
the-
when you come
Yeah.
up, you can
And
show
put a
it.
Facebook post up that will be coming door
And
to
So
then-
the
door.
elderly just aren't giving.
you have a
money.
list,
Okay.
each one of you have a list, it should have the water account or whatever, right? And
Okay.
if that person agrees to pay, write you a check, you write it down on that list and you come back and you put it in your books immediately.
Okay, okay, no.
That
I-
is not something that sits
would be
around.
a
I
very
like
good-
it. Do
very
you
good
wanna
process.
work with us on that, Kirill?
I would volunteer to go door to door to collect donations, I
Well,
have no
and just
problem with
cause
that.
you've got some good ideas that I I'm not thinking about.
There's other
Another
people
set
I
of
bet
eyes
you
would
who
be
would do
very
it.
good, yes.
The more, like I said,
Yeah.
the more that we can get it out there, the better
But we
off,
do
the
have-
better the informed the public's gonna be.
Yes,
I
we
gotta
do have
read
to make sure,
meters.
like, if
Yeah.
Corral,
Manually
if
read
you're gonna be with her and
119
Harley,
meters.
that
I
we
can
could get
knock
that
on every one
posted,
of them doors,
so that people do
Yeah.
know who it
Yeah.
is that's supposed to be there.
and that's this
Yeah,
week.
but if
We
you
don't want
guys
any-
I
go,
will.
Any
I will
mistakes?
I
get
gotta wait
some-
until I get our ducks in a row.
Get our,
Okay, well, I gotta
get
do it
the
once a
letter
month.
written, that's.
if
Well,
you
So I
guys go to
suggest we
door.
put this on the line item for the next upcoming meeting, where we can actually speak to it, hammer down what we're gonna do,
Yeah.
and then proceed from there.
It's kinda
Yeah.
easy
Is that
to set a
something you guys wanna do
deadline
next
on
week,
when
which is
it's
next week?
by.
It should, receipt book should be out with the person
Yeah,
who's
I
writing.
think that everybody should
Oh, for
have a
sure.
receipt
Yeah,
immediately
For sure.
or whatever.
Yep,
And you
that's
have
what
to-
I
That
can
says
go.
specifically what it is.
Yep, I
Yeah.
can go to office supply and then we can just have 3 or 4 receipt books.
And they're all written the
And
same
so
way.
then, yep, they're all written out, they're all
Right.
handed to you. As soon as you get the check, you get a receipt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
that's-
then the next receipt, the other stub will go into the envelope.
Well, you just have a
Before
raffle
we
ticket
get
and
too
stuff.
far into this, Harley, would you have time to do this just before the next meeting?
no, she's
Right.
got a few.
Okay,
more.
so
March.
I
No.
move
Not
that,
March.
to give us some time,
Yeah.
I move to put
Yeah,
this
right.
actually as a line item on the next agenda. We hammer down what we're gonna do, list of duties, and vote and approve how we're gonna do it to get some time. Cause I mean, we're realistically, we're only a week into it,
Yeah.
so
I
we got some
second.
time.
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve a listing or a line item